Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the garden. This is part 4 of propagating lilies. In part 3 I showed you guys I put it in this container and set it outside to grow for the summer. These lily little bulblets or whatever you want to call them grew. You can see the plants here. During the summer this was completely full of green foliage, green lily foliage, and for the most part it has started to die back. And since it has died back, I know that it's safe to take a look at what's going on with the bulbs inside of here. The reason you want to wait till, all the foliage is died back is because that foliage is what is going to be feeding the bulbs. If you remember, if you haven't seen them, definitely watch part 1, 2, and 3 before you watch this one so you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you remember when we first potted these up with the tiny bulbils and the scales still attached, these things were teeny tiny, and I'm so happy to see that these have actually gained some size. I know, especially me, the first time I do things, I'm always a little skeptical, like, oh, is this really going to work? Because I've never done this before either. I'm right here learning with you guys during this process. So here are some of the bulbs that have gotten quite a bit bigger. I'd say that they probably about doubled in size, and I can definitely see where it does take about 3 or 4 years before your little bulbs from propagation will begin to bloom. But it is exciting because, it's really nice to know that you can just stock up on your bulbs through this process. Even if it does take a little while, I think the payoff is really good when you consider the price of bulbs that you can find. So anyhow, here are some of our little bulbs that we're going to be saving that have come out of this pot. You can see they're quite a bit bigger than what we originally started out with, what we planted. They're still very small, not nearly big enough to produce a flower next year, that's for sure. So I know next year I'm not going to have any flowers. But now that I have these and I've checked these out, I'm just going to go ahead and replant these either in my pot or replant them in an area of the garden where I know there won't be very much competition for weeds. Since these are oriental lilies, storing them is not going to be an option because they need exposure to cold treatment over the winter. So likely I'm just going to put these back in a pot and give them a little bit more space since I had them so cramped up in this other pot. And we'll just do the whole thing again next year. These will stay dormant over winter in their pots. In spring they'll start to grow, get that nice green foliage, wait for the foliage to die back over the summer, and then maybe by our 3rd year, if we're lucky, we will have bulbs that are big enough that will produce a flower for us, and we can go from there. I hope that this video was somehow helpful. I know a lot of you guys were really interested in seeing the progress of this, so I'm more than happy to help out if I can. I hope y'all are having a real great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.